How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Jeff Benjamin with 9 to 5 Mac. We are unboxing and reviewing the 2018 Mac Mini. Now, this one holds a special place in my heart because it was the first modern Mac, the Mac Mini back in the day was the first modern Mac that I ever bought. And yeah, we're talking about the new one. And I'm extremely excited about this Mac because it is hands down the most versatile Mac computer that you can buy today. And guess what? It starts at just $800. Check out the full review right now. Thanks for watching 9 to 5 Mac. Be sure to thumbs up, click the subscribe button, and then enable notifications with the bell icon so you won't miss any upcoming videos. 9 to 5 Mac on YouTube is sponsored by Hyper, maker of some of our favorite high-quality MacBook USB hubs, chargers, and more. For a limited time, get 25% off Hyper's new Hyperdrive USB-C hub for MacBook using the links below. This handy little USB-C attachment connects directly to your MacBook charger, giving you 2 USB 3.0 Type-A ports in the process. Special thanks to Hyper for sponsoring 9 to 5 Mac on YouTube. Okay, so we are unboxing the Mac Mini, and again, like I stated, starts at $800. This one, as configured, is about $1,300. Actually, that wasn't intentional. I'll talk more about that here in a few. But inside the box, you have a getting started guide, and what's interesting about this guide is that there is actually a little depiction of a monitor there that Apple doesn't currently make. I don't know, what do you guys think? Would you like to see something like that from Apple? Thumbs up if so. Of course, you have regulatory information, and of course, you also have your Apple stickers in white. And the only other thing inside the Mac Mini box is this, the power cable. That's all. Very, very simple unboxing. So let's go ahead and get it unwrapped. There's our Mac Mini. And as you can see, it's in space gray for the first time ever. What do you guys and gals think about that? I'm actually kind of burnt out on space gray, to be honest. Let me know down below in the comments section. So we remove the tape from the I/O ports. We're about to power it on. And then when it's on, you'll see that little tiny, minuscule, microscopic LED light. And I think you could accurately describe that light as being cute. All right, so we're all fired up. We're ready to go. I have my space gray Magic keyboard and my space gray Magic trackpad too. Now let's talk about specifications, starting with the Apple T2 security chip that appears for the first time in the Mac Mini. It consolidates multiple controllers like the storage controller and audio controller. It also takes care of file vault key handling and APFS encrypted storage. But one of its most important tasks is handling boot up. Yes, Secure Boot comes to the Mac Mini thanks to the Apple T2. Secure Boot ensures that only trusted operating system software loads up at startup, and it ensures that the lowest levels of software aren't tampered with. Now, one of the coolest things about the 2018 Mac Mini when compared to its direct predecessor is that it features standard small outline DIMM modules. Yes, that means you can upgrade the memory yourself. Now, I'm not saying that's super easy, but if enough people are interested, we'll make a step-by-step video walkthrough. Thumbs up if you want to see that. Needless to say, I did not upgrade the RAM during the configuration process. I'm going to do it myself and save a lot of money. Now, I definitely do recommend upgrading the processor from that i3, which lacks turbo boost and hyper-threading, and upgrade to the i7, which has 6 cores, has turbo boost, and has hyper-threading. If you only upgrade one item during the build-to-order process, it should definitely be the CPU. For $300 more, you get a much more capable CPU. And you can see the Geekbench scores right here, not bad at all in either single core or multi-core. And these CPUs have onboard video encoding, which is great if you're editing video, 4K video in Final Cut Pro. It's going to export super fast because it exports using Intel QuickSync Video. And that helps out a lot because the integrated UHD 630 GPU is pretty anemic. So this little Mac Mini, I'm going to compare it with the iMac Pro because of the space gray paint job, the generous I/O, and the CPU. So you can see right here the Mac Mini 6-core i7 versus the 8-core Xeon in the base model iMac Pro. And they're pretty similar. Obviously the iMac Pro has better multi-core, but the Mac Mini holds its own. That is until you start messing with graphics. And this is where the Mac Mini really falls down because it only has that Intel UHD graphics 630 GPU, that integrated GPU, whereas the iMac Pro has the discrete Vega 56 in the base model. And as you can see, it's an absolute slaughter comparing the two. It's actually kind of just goofy to compare the two. I shouldn't have wasted your time. But There is a solution to this problem and we're going to discuss it in just a second, so hang on. Now let's talk about storage, because for the first time, the Mac Mini uses all-flash storage. Unfortunately, it's soldered to the logic board, but it uses all-flash storage across all models. And you can configure up to 2 terabytes. Now I mentioned that my Mac Mini cost about $1,300, and that was actually a mistake because I accidentally upgraded to 256 gigabytes of storage instead of leaving it at 128. My mistake. Now the flash storage in the Mac Mini is very fast, but it's not as fast as the storage inside the iMac Pro, yet there's still plenty of bandwidth for 4K workflows. Now with the more powerful hardware, you expect the Mac Mini to generate some heat, right? And it does, but there's a brand new thermal architecture, a bigger fan, and increased airflow to help with that. And like the iMac Pro, the Mac Mini I found is generally dead silent, and I find that to be super valuable. Now, speaking of value, let's talk about the most valuable thing about this machine, the I/O. So on the back, you have tons of ports. You have obviously your gigabit Ethernet. You have 4, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4 Thunderbolt 3 ports, which absolutely is a game changer for the Mac Mini. You have HDMI 2.0 for the first time, which is awesome. 4K 60 Hz output. You have 2 USB Type A ports, USB 3.0, and you have a 3.5mm headphone port. But as I alluded to, it's the 4 Thunderbolt 3 ports that really changed the game for the Mac Mini. It means you can upgrade this machine externally in so many different ways. For instance, if you didn't configure 10 gigabit Ethernet at the outset, you can always add it later using something like this Akitio adapter. Or if you want more ports, more I/O, you want UHS 2, you want DisplayPort, you can connect something like the CalDigit TS3 Plus. Or if you want faster storage, you want more storage, you can connect something like this, the Samsung X5. Or if you want better graphics, you can connect an external GPU like this one from Sonnet. And of course, you can connect to an external display of your liking. Something like this 5K ultra wide from LG. If you want to see a review on that, thumbs up, let me know. This thing is awesome. 21:9 display, 34 inches, perfect for those horizontal timelines in Final Cut Pro. Yes, folks, it's the Thunderbolt 3 I/O that makes this device so special. And of course, the CPU is really nice as well, as is the ability to upgrade your RAM, although Apple recommends contacting an Apple authorized service provider or an Apple store if you want to do so. The cool thing about the Mac Mini is that it's so small, you can put it pretty much anywhere. You can hide all the cables that you have plugged in, and you can see I have a lot of Thunderbolt 3 cables plugged in to this Mac Mini because I have a lot of external devices, upgrading effectively this Mac Mini to something more powerful. So let's talk about that right now. Starting with the eGPU, I have a Radeon Pro WX 9100 inside this Sonnet chassis, and I have it directly connected via Thunderbolt 3 to my Mac Mini. So what results from that? Well, I'm gonna run that same Heaven benchmark that I ran earlier. You saw it stuttering, running at about 5 frames per second. With the way I have it configured, I have it configured with the ultra settings, tessellation set to moderate, I believe, 2x anti-aliasing, 2560 by 1080. And you can see it's much more smooth here. The frame rate a lot better as well. Yeah, it makes a huge difference. You can see how the Mac Mini's internal integrated graphics compare to the eGPU. I'm shocked, said no one ever. If you know you need it, I definitely recommend upgrading to 10 gigabit Ethernet during the build to order process, but it's nice to know you can always add it after the fact. 10 gigabit Ethernet thanks to Akitio's adapter. The CalDigit TS3 Plus dock is my favorite Thunderbolt 3 dock. It has so much I/O, including UHS 2 SD card reader, so I can copy files from my SD card in no time flat, much faster than a regular reader. And speaking of speed, the Samsung X5 Thunderbolt 3 SSD is even faster than the internal flash storage in your Mac Mini. That's crazy. So ladies and gentlemen, the 2018 Mac Mini is a special computer. It is the most versatile Mac that Apple makes, and it has tons of upgradability. If you don't want to spend a fortune upgrading this thing up front because it can get really pricey, then you don't have to. You can always add additional Thunderbolt 3 components down the line, but definitely drop some extra coin to upgrade to that i7 CPU. I don't think you'll regret it. Folks, let me know what you think in the comment section. This is Jeff with 9 to 5 Mac. 9 to 5 Mac on YouTube is sponsored by Hyper, maker of some of our favorite high-quality MacBook USB hubs, chargers, and more, like the HyperJuice 87-watt dual USB-C charger with Quick Charge 3.0 USB-A, so that you can recharge multiple devices from a single outlet at the same time. The HyperJuice USB-C charger is also available for 25% off for a limited time. Special thanks to Hyper for sponsoring 9 to 5 Mac on YouTube.